my roundabout way of answering your questions of like, what are the most essential Git commands? They're the ones that are just abstracted for you in the Pantheon dashboard. You don't even need to realize that you're running a Git command. So as I make changes to that file, as I add more files, they're showing up here in the Pantheon dashboard. So again, I think it is a virtue of this way of doing things that it may not even be obvious to you or me using this, that like, oh, I'm using Git right now because I'm just toying around with CSS files, and it shows up in here as changes, and I can click and see what they are. The analog on the command line would be like Git status, Git diff, and just for fullness of the comparison, why don't I show those as well? So I'm going to bring up my terminal here. What we're seeing in the Pantheon dashboard is basically an alternative representation of Git status, just like what is the status of my repository right now. And the status is that I have modified a file. I've got like an untracked new file. So we're seeing the same concept here, but in two representations. And I personally don't view one of these as like better or worse. These are just
like one's in the UI and one's in the command line.
Yeah. And in some situations, I personally prefer the command line way. And in other situations, I personally prefer this. It's often for me like a matter of expedience. If the thing I'm doing is as simple as like a one-line CSS change or just like debugging a thing, I'd rather not bother with a local clone and a setup of a local dev environment. So we're seeing the same information, but shown two different ways.
This is great for people in my role to be able to leave those messages and see the red and green signals. And yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Thanks for explaining the difference between using Terminus and the actual UI here.